This podcast is going to piss off some people.
That's the point,
That's
right?
the point,
Yeah.
right? I have a terminology that I use for full-time online marketers.
Shiny turds.
Polished.
Polished turds.
Polished turds. 2 quick ways to spot a full-time marketer, promoter, online guru, or educator. Number 1, go to Baller Busters. Number 2, go to the comment section.
Carlos Reyes on the humble show. Yeah, we all in, we all in. So grab your boys now, cause you know we all win. Lift your hands up and give them praise. Blessed every day, full of grace. Yeah, we all in, we all
Welcome back to the All In Podcast. I am your host, Carlos Reyes. To my center, I got Mr. Zadie, aka the most interesting man in the industry. To my left, I got my business partner of over a decade, Mr. Sal Shakir. And to my other left, I got Mr. Adrian Salgado, aka Mr. Born Closer. And today, you definitely want to stick around because we are going to break down business operators versus online marketers. The good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to both. All right. So with that being said, I feel like this is a subject that I personally have been wanting to discuss for several months. As you saw earlier, Sal, I got in a Facebook Live, and I did about 15, 20 minutes kind of breaking down our journey as business operators. And then my journey when I made a small transition, or I try to make a small transition because I thought that's what the organization needed from me as an online marketer, and how I absolutely hated it, right? What are business operators good at, first and foremost, and then we'll discuss some of the things that they're not very good at. Zadie, what are business operators good at? You've worked with some, and you've been around long enough to identify.
They're people. They're people. They
business operators?
Yeah, they know how to communicate with people, and they are builders. I would say a business operator is like somebody who could build a Lego set. You know, you give him a bunch of, like Sal, you give him a bunch of Legos, he'll probably build a Taj Mahal, in like 5 minutes.
So do you think I'm good with Legos?
I think if you sat down and you had the patience, you probably would be, honestly.
If you put if you put time
He has
into
the
it,
bear paws too big for Legos.
I'm not.
We could get big pieces.
I've never put together a Lego
have
set.
to use the Diplo sets, the baby sets with the big pieces.
Get them BBL pieces.
I remember when Carlos first got, we were like into shooting, right? I remember when we went to the range and every time you wanted to clean your gun, you use that analogy, like, I can't clean my gun. Sal has to clean my gun.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
So I guess that would be a good analogy.
Yeah.
Right?
However, some of the things that I really enjoy as a business operator is, as you know, Sal, KPIs.
Yeah.
You know how, like, I'm what I call a KPI Nazi, right? I'm a numerical metric Nazi. I just have to know. I have to know. I don't like to fly blind, right? Yeah. I like the people development aspect of it. Developing employees, developing leaders, developing managers. I like the, I would say, the management aspect of it. I do love some of the management aspect of it, and I also love some of the leadership aspect of it. Right, a leader bends his will to who? The people. Mm-hmm. Right, according to the book you're reading. Yeah. Right. So, okay, Sal, what are some other things that business operators are good at?
I think they always have a good sense. They always have a 360 overview on the business. They have their hands, even if it's on a smaller scale, but everywhere. They have to understand every aspect of the business. If they don't, then instantly the business will start to fail, or the operator will become overwhelmed because they'll start to be hit from other departments or other areas randomly, and they don't know how to solve that problem. So they have to always keep an eye on everything. So multitasking is not a thing, but they have to try to always have kind of a 360 overview on the business at all times. Second thing is they have to be good leaders because they get asked a lot of questions.
Have you ever been a bad leader?
Horrible leader. I used to be a horrible leader.
Just so people know, by the way, right? Because there's a lot of, like, we have some of our property partners here in the studio, and you might as well just let them know, hey, there is a strong possibility that in your first 12 months or your first 3 years, you might be a horrible leader. even though that's not your intention, it's just it's kind of part of the growing process, right?
Most of the time, they will somebody will say, "Are you a good leader? Are you a bad leader?" And you would think that you're a good leader. You just don't know it. You won't know it if you're a bad leader. You would always think that you're a good leader. So when you're a bad leader, you kind of don't see yourself as a bad leader until you see what a good leader does. Until you start to read books. Most operators are not good leaders because they're engineer-like. Most of them are very if this then that type of people. So they're not good socially, and if you're not good socially, you're not a good leader usually because you can't communicate well. So you have to work on that skill set more than any other skill set.
We were talking about that, your emotional IQ, right?
Yeah, you have IQ and you have EQ.
EQ.
Your EQ is usually lower when you're an operator. Not saying that's by everybody's like that, but the majority are like that. In order for you to have higher EQ, you need to work on that, and it's not easy. It took me years to overcome.
You've
that.
actually have really committed over these past couple of years to personally developing yourself.
And by default, the EQ increased.
That's right.
And by default,
I've seen
I became a better leader. I would like to think that I became a much better leader through that.
I would say that you have evolved a lot over the past 3 years.
Thank you. And there's more to
And
come.
you're only 35, right? You're only 35 to be where you are with your business acumen, your leadership, everything that you're doing, right? Your family. I think you're in a really good situation.
Thank you. I have good peers next to me. So
I think if
I have
you
no other choice.
I think if you don't evolve as a business owner, you become a marketer because you have to survive and you just can't handle it. So then you're like, all right, well, what else can I do?
Yeah, you're right.
And just
I've seen that.
that's what they do.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest common factor that we see, especially on Instagram, right? The day and age of building a company it's almost obsolete now. Everybody's doing it under their own name. But that restricts you to being the face of the organization for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
Yep.
At what point can you hang it up? If you hang it up, like, your name doesn't live on. But if you have an organization behind you, like All In, at any point in time, we can change the face of the organization if we wanted to. And it's not really going to affect
You
things
can
in a
make
certain
Zadie
way.
the face.
Zadie can be the
Zadie
body.
has the
Zadie
face
can be the
that-
body that takes
be the
place
hype
of your
manager.
face.
Yeah.
And the hype manager.
And I don't have a BBA.
So, earlier I was having lunch with a good buddy of mine, Virgil Contreras, who has a great social media following, organic following. Literally, the guy has never shot a professional video. It's just him and his phone.
That's cool.
But he shows the work. See, I love that about an operator, right? He shows the work. Do you remember when you and I barely started in this business or in the industry, right? I was always showing the work. You weren't really like out there like that. You were busy like setting everything
still
up,
not.
right? Exactly. But I was always naturally just wanting to show the work and not even to show off, just because I was proud of the work we were doing, right?
And somehow that caught a lot
And then
of
it's like,
attention.
oh, wow, okay. One thing kind of morphed into another. And then next thing you know, right, they asked us to speak back in 2016 in Las Vegas, Nevada, right? Our first little speaking gig was like 150 people at a meetup. And we drove there or flew there, I don't know, but that was our first ever speaking. And then after that, we started throwing our own events in 2018. And, I started speaking on a lot of different stages, and that was such a blessing. But again, we never sat out to be influencers or motivators or online marketers. You know what I mean?
The work became the marketer.
The work became your biggest edification.
Yeah.
Right? And
Now,
I feel like
now the marketing's the work.
Or the results.
now the
results
marketing is the work. Yeah, it really is.
That's crazy.
It really is, right? Wow, I'm having some insights here from both of you today, right?
Shout out to who put you on stage in Vegas, though. That was dope.
Oh yeah.
Is that you?
Yeah, hell yeah, it was me.
Oh, dude, that was you?
I don't
Yeah.
How
know.
do you
bro.
don't remember?
Heck yes.
Wow,
It
thank
was
you, Zadie.
it was
Give myself
it was
flowers.
like
Yeah,
It was
the
a panel.
Outback. The
It was a
Outback.
panel.
something,
Yeah.
yeah.
The Outback.
Oh man, I wonder what happened. We should reach out to him.
No, don't.
Anyway,
You're
right?
past that. You're past that.
So let me also let's also talk about something that I believe people really underrate. Gino Wickman's book Traction.
Oh man.
When I initially read it back in 2016, 2017, it talked about this integrator dude, and it talked about this visionary dude, right? And I didn't think it was a big deal. And now that I've been partners with
It was
you,
like
Sal,
Maverick from Top Gun and
Iceman,
or Iceman, and then you got
Goose.
No,
Goose?
no. I was gonna reference a whole nother movie. What's his name?
who?
Vote
John
for
Wick?
Pedro.
Napoleon
And then vote for-
Dynamite?
Yeah, Napoleon Dynamite. Like that's literally the description.
Oh, you're saying that the visionary gets painted like he's
Oh, yeah.
Maverick?
He is Maverick,
And then the other guy's
the
like-
integrator. He is
Pedro?
He's the janitor.
either Pedro or either
janitor.
I remember you.
what's the
janitor.
other, or Napoleon Dynamite.
I remember you used
There
to
you
get
go.
so annoyed when people would. They're like, oh, he's the visionary. You're the integrator. You're like, no, I'm visionary. We're both visionary, and you guys both
Oh, that
had the
was ego
visionary
talk,
logo.
You know, see,
Yeah.
like
you
that's
know?
how you know you
We've
grow
grown.
past that.
Evolved,
Yeah, we.
yeah.
But it was
'Cause
cute.
guess
It was
what?
nice.
But
it
the
was
book,
dope.
the
It was
book's
great.
biggest flaw is still that.
What?
The book's flaw is
You
talks
think
about
it's the perspective about the two
because
roles?
it talks about it because I think in the book itself it talks about about a visionary being the business owner, an integrator being an employee. They
true.
forget that there's
That's true.
some other business owners that are both integrators and visionaries, or they're just integrators. And
Well,
they
at
have,
one point you were a visionary and the integrator when you had your car dealership.
yeah, but you fit in the best seat. You fit in the seat that you're best at, right? And the book, I think the book fails to understand that there is other people that are partners in this. It's not just the visionary that owns the business.
No,
Right.
because the book actually states that the most powerful combination with the most potential is when an integrator and a visionary align and they build something together.
Correct.
It does say that.
Correct, it does. However, the negative connotation to it, even in society today, the word guru itself, it's not a bad word.
It's not. It
But-
actually means you're an expert in something.
Correct. In today's age,
Yeah.
if you say that you're a guru, people will think that it has.
Well,
that,
hold on. You could say he's an online guru. You could say that. What is his expertise? Being online.
Correct.
Now, he's a business guru. Oh, okay. That guy knows a thing or two about business.
Correct. But by the way, you're preaching
Right?
to the choir. I'm on the same thing, but I'm talking about when people hear about if you're out there in a social gathering or a business gathering, and somebody says that this is the integrator, they paint this picture of this guy
That's true.
that has probably thick goggles and
Yeah, that's true.
sits in a dungeon and looks
Like the guy from Office.
He's saying like the
Don't move my red stapler.
the integrator is like known as like a nerd, and then the visionary is like the cool.
The cool
and
dude,
therefore,
yeah,
people
yeah,
who
yeah.
even are integrators or they're operators, they don't
Let's
try
be
to admit
honest,
it to
though.
themselves.
Let's be honest.
because that perception.
Let's be honest. And you guys have worked with us now for quite some time. Is my role any more important than your role, or is your role any more important than my role? I
I
don't
think we
believe so.
complete each other.
Can't have
I don't
one
believe
without
so.
the other. You'll fail just one of you.
Would we
You would have to have
be where
both.
we are right now if it was just me? Absolutely not. Would you be where you are right now if it was
No,
just
we were
you?
just talking about this.
Guess what?
He would have hair and you wouldn't.
Exactly.
Wow. Probably have long hair by now.
long, luscious,
Yeah, right.
long, luscious Fabio hair. Right?
Yeah, I would love
But
it. Yeah,
but
that's
honestly, it's funny. Sal and I, when we met, right?
He had
I
hair.
technically was an operator.
Yeah, you were.
I was a manager. I was a leader. I would do the scheduling for my old company. I would do the hiring for my old company. I would do the balancing for my old company, right? I would do the compliance for my old company. I would do the paperwork for my old company.
Did you do that because you had to, or you enjoyed it?
I was the manager.
But did you enjoy it?
No.
That's why he's not doing none of that anymore.
You know what I enjoyed? You know what my favorite part of my old job was?
Sales?
Customer service and sales, which is kind of what I do now, right?
Yeah.
You know
and
what I
you
mean?
had the #1 store because of
And
it.
I had the #1 store in the entire company, which was in multiple states because of that reason, right? Because I was really good with people,
You were
right?
good at that, and you knew what you were good at, and you focused on that.
I
Like
did.
If you were good at operations more, you probably would have neglected that.
You want me to
side.
tell you how I would make the schedule? I would have my assistant manager say, "Hey, make the schedule, send it to me by Friday. I'll review it, I'll approve it, and then you see, like that is what we're building today. You get what I'm saying, right? It's like that is what we're building today. I've already I spent over a decade in a corporate structure, and when I came over to do my own business with Sal, I hated it.
He's like,
I didn't want
anarchy.
it.
I'm gonna do whatever I
It's
want.
like, hey, I want to run a circus. I want people to show up whenever they want.
Pool tables
I want
in the
people to
office.
dictate their own income and blah blah blah. Right? And
Take
and
shots.
It was
Take tequila shots.
Take tequila shots. Date people.
10
Date
o'clock
people in the
morning.
office.
Well, you
have
wouldn't
babies,
date.
get
People
married.
would date within the office.
Exactly.
It was crazy. We had
So
all
we-
them
it
babies.
was a
You guys
circus.
are Match.com.
But guess
we,
what?
we had all them babies literally running around.
But guess what? We were bad leaders.
We were horrible leaders.
We were bad leaders, right? We were bad leaders. And I'll be honest with you, our people in our businesses are a reflection of who we are at that time. Who we attracted at that time was just where we were mentally and spiritually at that time.
I wouldn't say you're bad leaders. I would say you were leaders in progress, and you're just a lot further ahead now. Because at the end of the day, you can't make money if you're bad, bro.
Sal, how
You
long?
can. Of
Sal,
course you can.
Sal,
You can't.
what's
You can
this?
You have to be
Money
good
as
at
a
You
something.
make
leader.
money, yeah.
You have to
Sal.
be good at
Especially
something.
with today's age, you have a lot of people who have seen this as a gold rush. That's why they become online figures or.
But that's a
We haven't even
marketer. That's
gone
not a
on
business.
marketing.
Yeah,
owner.
you got to think about it now, right? You can make money without being any type of leader and simply just being a face of just being
And
a
it's a
face,
hustle.
a funny face to look
Sure,
at,
you
right?
can get a BBL.
You gotta look-
and go online.
these
and then you
these
make
these
money.
streamers nowadays, right? They're making the same kind of contracts as professional athletes.
That's true. 100K.
And what are they doing?
200K,
Playing video games
$500,000.
online, talking to people
Yeah.
while they stream.
Yeah.
You don't need to be a good leader to be able to make a lot of money in today's society.
But the back end stuff, you have to lead your team.
Oh, you're making so much money hand over
Bro,
fist in the front end. You
and
can
not
pay
to
somebody
mention
to do all that
there's
stuff.
organizations out there that make multiple, 7 figures, and they're
running a circus.
They're running marketing. They get more people in, and then, but within time, that's the problem with this. Within time,
Yeah.
the organization will fail
Collapse.
because they're not operationally, set.
Stable.
They'll fail. First of all, customer support will fail. People will complain. Second of all, you don't fulfill.
Fulfillment will
Fulfillment
fail.
will fail
Fulfillment's
for
huge.
sure.
Yeah, you're right.
And then that's when you start to hear people complaining, and then one person complains, the second person complains, third person, and then before you know it, everybody starts complaining. You got Instagram channels or Instagram handles that talk about people like that, and they grow too fast because they see how easy is it to be a public figure
And to make money.
to make money. It becomes so easy, so they'll do more of it. But by doing more of it, they try to throw money at the operation rather than really building the operation. So they throw money at the problem because they're making so
Right.
much money. But in reality, you're just kicking the can down the road.
Well,
And
guess what? They don't want to learn operations.
either
Remember?
they don't like it, or they don't want to learn
think-
it, or they just think that this is the business. The sales is the only part of the business.
think
Or the
the-
marketing is the only part of the
Well,
business.
that's common, and that's very common. Like we spoke to a lot of clients in just like the general space where it's like they're making money. Once again, they're making money, and they don't have HR department, or they don't have
Financial department, or a
finance
marketing
They
and
don't have
sales
a marketing
department, yeah.
Well, they are the marketing department. Like the face is the marketing department.
Yeah.
Them going live, them speaking at stages,
Branding.
branding.
Well-
It could be going on lives on Facebook or.
Sal, do you remember when I got lost in the sauce
Yeah, I remember very well.
from 2019 to about 2022?
You were on the verge of a BBL.
Yeah.
I was close.
BBL. You had the pinky ring.
I was close. I was about to go get a
Yeah,
BBL.
You was getting you were
had the
getting the
Rafe.
vampire facials. You started sucking Sal into it.
I was like, Sal, the company has to pay for my BBL. No. Sal, do you remember when you had that conversation and I didn't know what it meant? You did insult me.
I'm sorry. I hope you don't mention the comment.
I am.
I'm
gonna
man.
say
Yeah,
it.
just do it.
I'm going to say it.
Yeah, I like.
You
this
said
comment.
you need to get back down here and help me with this, build this business. You've become a full-time actor, like a paid actor.
You're a paid actor. I
You're a
remember
paid actor.
that.
You were there.
You were very
I got
insulted.
offended.
Yeah, you did.
I was like, I was like, what is
Because I was
this
trying to
dude talking
explain it to
about?
you.
I'm like, I'm leaving my
It wouldn't register,
family.
so I had to use something.
I get it, but I didn't
strong.
understand that then, and I do understand
You
it
were
now.
on planes every other
I was on planes
weekend.
every other weekend, speaking at somewhere on some stage and leaving my family and leaving the business, right? Because I felt like that's what the brand needed me to do at that time.
That's what brought
Had
the
we
income.
decided to keep the business at a smaller scale, that wouldn't be a problem. It would be
No, but
perfect.
bro, I don't even enjoy it.
No, I know.
I don't
that
even
would-
enjoy
that
that
would have been-
anymore.
The conversation would have been never had. We would have never had that conversation. But because our vision was so big to build these businesses to be at $100 million a year type of business. Well, that required a lot of operation. That required a lot of
And guess what I like the most
decision-making.
now?
Yeah,
What do I like the most now, right?
absolutely. That requires level 10 meetings. That requires quarterly meetings. That requires
Holding
annual
people
meetings.
accountable, right?
Core values.
hiring
having,
good
having
talent.
targets,
Core
hiring
values,
A
I think, is
players.
the
Yeah.
biggest.
Yeah.
I think it's like a house, right? You can have a beautiful house, marble. You can have granite. You can have all this beautiful stuff
then you
in
got
your property.
roaches inside
No,
of it.
but your foundation is messed up. You have to have a solid foundation to build the house on.
Yeah.
Would you guys say? I want to ask you guys this question. Do you feel like the foundation you had to destroy the foundation and rebuild, or
Yes.
the found?
Absolutely.
Yes.
How many times?
Yes.
How many times did you destroy the foundation?
Twice.
Twice?
Yeah, twice. And I remember
What year was the first year?
I tried.
Because I can recall 2022.
So 2020 started.
Okay.
It's-
But that's not when we destroyed the foundation.
Oh, I had to change. No, you're talking about destroying.
After
You're talking
Copper
about
Point?
letting some people go. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about fundamentally, like in the.
No, I'm talking about blowing up the entire infrastructure because it's not structured correctly.
Yeah.
And having to, lay out the concrete and then start building on that. I believe that started in 2022.
Is that when the fire happened?
It
Now-
started in 2020, and I remember this because you were still traveling, and you don't.
Oh,
Even,
yeah,
you,
yeah,
you don't
yeah.
remember
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I was. It became so painful for us to be in the business because our own team members, and not to their fault, we just programmed them that way, where they become rebellious, where they would come to us and say, "I'm not making enough money. How can I make enough money?" So it becomes our burden, and we have
Fix
to
it.
start new things, and we have to stretch ourselves thinner to make our people happier. And then people are still drinking. They come when they want to come. We had no core values, and then they had everything in their head. So I was afraid to fire people. And
There was no SOPs.
There was no SOPs, flow charts. There's no process.
And if we had a few SOPs, nobody was following them.
And then the longer I waited, the more control they had. So I remember I made a decision, and it took me a few months. I actually wouldn't get haircuts for like months at a time. I would stand in, and I remember this because when I bought my house back in February of 2020, in the kitchen, I would go in there and I would open up my laptop, and this would be weekends. I come back from work, I do this, and my family would be in the watching TV. They're all laughing. There would be my in-laws in there, and they're laughing. They're like, "Sal, do you want to eat?" I'm like, "No, I'll be right there." And I would be working. I wouldn't
You
even
weren't-
sit
you
down.
weren't
I would,
eating? You
I
weren't
would, I would,
eating?
I would stand up.
You weren't eating?
I would eat.
I'm like, how did you get so big?
Oh, I was
Stressed.
You were
I was
180
super stressed.
pounds.
I'll tell you how I was
Mastros.
eating horribly. But this is what happened. I would look
Didn't
up.
have
It would be like
gluten
9
allergies
p.m.
Yeah,
It would be like
yeah.
9 p.m. Right, and they're talking. They're about to leave, and I would look up thinking that I'm gonna go join them. And I look at the clock. It would be 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm
They're
creating
gone.
SOP. I'm taking information from all the team members, trying to create this kind of, imagine a hairball that you have to take thread by thread and put it aside, and then understand where this needs to be in here, this needs to be there. Where one person was doing, let's say, 5 departments,
Yeah.
or we're doing 5 people's jobs,
Yeah.
and it wasn't kind of defined to that one person. And we had a bunch of those. So I had to untangle each one of them and then put it aside, then build a process based on the information I got from them. Then I would sit down with them and try to build that process. That was the worst time of my life. I missed-
wouldn't call it the worst time of
No,
your
I mean,
life.
it was like the
It
feeling
was one
horrible.
of the most challenging times of your life.
It was the most challenging, and I always tell people, I'm like, do not ever end up there, because I was there and I know the feeling. It was horrible. You feel helpless because
And you feel unhealthy.
you feel unhealthy and helpless because the same people that you want to trust, they're using that same thing against you. Because they run and they come and ask you double the salary, triple the salary. And if you ask them to do something that's part of their job and they don't feel
want
like the
more.
way you asked them, or because they wanted to take that week off because they felt like taking a week off, you have to apologize for asking them to do their job because they're mad now.
Well, we don't have
and
to
they
do
hold
that
that over
anymore.
your head.
See, I
So-
think you can't teach other people to create a business unless you go through that. You know how people like they just get success and they haven't tasted failure, they haven't destroyed their company, build it back up. So what are you teaching somebody?
You
You're not
can
teaching
learn
them how
from
to.
our pain. You can learn from
That's what I'm
other
saying.
people's pain, right? Don't
Yeah.
do the mistakes we've done.
The
But if
do's
you
and
haven't
don't
made the
do's.
mistakes and no one's teaching you, how are you gonna teach someone else not to make the mistakes?
Yeah,
You don't know
we're
where
too
all the
stubborn to learn that
landmines
from
are.
someone else. Maybe that's our own fault.
It was. We never actually seek like mentors and
Correct.
you know.
You guys
we
would
never-
go to the events, but you'd stay in the back talking shit about the speakers. It's true. I mean,
you
but
serious?
rightfully so, because you're like, I could do it better than you, and you did. You know.
Okay.
I'd like to remember a time.
I
don't
don't
why.
remember
I trust
me
you.
just
I
sitting
remember
in the back talk. Anyway,
Yeah, the guy that tells the story about the airplane. You know that guy. I'm not gonna say his name, but his kid in the airplane going down.
I actually respect that guy now.
Same story all
Anyway,
the time.
I do.
Remember that guy?
We don't, you don't know. I know. Sal, how long would it take us? First of all, do we do any of the hiring now?
No.
Do we do any of the firing now? For the most part, no. Unless you need me to, right? If it's like a very high level person, right? When a person, one of our ex-employees, right? And again, I was saying that earlier. We never made examples of people, right? I call it putting heads on pikes, right? And we never made examples of people. So then it just became a domino effect. Everybody started taking advantage of us.
That's right.
Because we wouldn't sue anybody or,
You don't
make
even
it
have the
difficult.
capacity to do it because
Right,
you're all,
we
you're
were too
doing
busy.
everything
Exactly,
else.
right? Let me ask you this. Back then, when someone didn't align with our core values, how long would it take us to actually part ways with them?
6 months plus.
Okay. Did you hear that? Back then, our systems or our processes, right, and our core values, everything, our entire company was so broken that if we had a bad employee, it would take us 6 months or more to part ways with the person.
If not
It would-
years.
it would-
Sometimes
yeah,
it's taking
yeah.
us over a year.
It would be so unclear of what our foundation looked like that it allowed people just to hide in the weeds for 6 months, do nothing, ask for everything.
Yeah.
Then finally, when you got that small inclination that they
It was
weren't
like, what do you do?
like they weren't
Right.
supposed to be a part of the organization or they weren't doing the work, then it would take an additional 6 months to build up the courage to fire them because we didn't know like.
Well, and also
what do they-
remember,
what
like
do they
Sal
know that we
said,
don't?
their role, they're the only ones that kind of knew their role. There was no SOPs where you can get rid of them, hire a new person, and plug them in.
Yeah.
And by
Because
default,
you guys
like,
thought you needed them.
by default, though, the same employees that you're talking about feel like they're building the business for you, and they feel like,
Like you owe them.
yeah, you. Well,
Wow.
they're saying, why would I work for you?
Even though
I'm,
how much
I'm
risk,
running
how
your
much
business, I'm
risk
building
would
your
they take? How
business.
much risk would they take?
How much
Zero.
risk?
How much risk would those people take?
The risk
every
they would-
month.
Just
None.
the commute to the office.
None.
Hopefully
The
they don't
commute-
get
the
hit
risk
by
that
the
they don't
car.
get-
They don't get in a car accident. That's
Yeah.
the biggest risk that they would take,
100, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
How
I
much
remember
risk?
if they wanted to buy a Lamborghini that year, they would knock on our door and say, "Hey, we need to meet. I need to make an extra amount of money. Figure that out for me. How do I do it?" And then we've actually opened up businesses with some of our employees, and their time, like let's say they're supposed to work 40 hours a week for the job that they were hired for. Now we have to open up a second business for them where they become 50-50 partners with us, and then
Well, that was back in the day,
and
not
they
no
take,
more.
And they take time from the job that they're supposed to do to help build that one, and they fail both.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. How long does it take us to fire someone now?
Same day. I was talking to my barber today. He was asking me about some
you
some
fire
business
I know, but
advice. No,
Fire
and he
barber.
was, talk, he
But
was
hold
telling
on,
me
let me
about the
repeat
biggest
that.
issue.
Let me repeat that. Okay. It used to take us over 6 months to fire a bad employee. That's how broken our company was. We now have the ability to fire somebody on the spot the same day.
Now, granted, we don't do it. We give PIP. We have PIP performance.
No, but if
improvement
again,
plans and,
if they have violated the core values in a way where there's no return, they're gone.
absolutely.
We've done that. We've fired them, right? From C-suites to managers, right? To leaders, to employees. Same day. It's like, hey, brother, can we have a quick conversation? No verbal, no written. Boom. Gone.
Core values is the foundation of everything.
That's right.
now.
So what like, this is a good question for everyone else, right? But there's some people that you've let go instantly, and then there's other people you let go and you're like, all right, you got 2 weeks to kind of settle and find your own
You
way.
can explain that,
So
Sal.
what is that? How do you determine if it's immediate or if it's a core value violation, if it's immediate or it's 2 weeks? Because it's a violation. It's going to be a problem. How do you trust them to stay there for 2 weeks?
It depends if this is deep rooted within the core values. Let's say if that person is a liar, if that person is negative, and we're not seeing that, and he was not negative at all, and then he had one bad week, then yeah, we would talk to them. But if we catch wind of that, and then we kind of just follow the
Track
paper
it.
trail, yeah, and find out that person has been negative this whole time, and we start to investigate, then yeah, absolutely, same day. Because you violated the core values, and with those core values that you set in your business, our core values is our core values. We understood what we don't want, and we understand what we want.
Yeah.
To each business, they might have
The
their
Sacred
own.
Six.
Yeah, the Sacred Six. I was just reading it to my barber today,
Yeah.
and I was telling him that this is the foundation, and then everything else is everything else.
Mm-hmm.
That you start with that, and you won't have the problems of people not showing up on time. You won't have the
Yeah, and I'll answer that, Sal. If an employee just isn't getting the results, but he's a good person, and his core values align with us, we'll give him. We'll be graceful, right? We'll put him on a PIP, performance improvement plan, right? We'll put him on a PIP, and again, depending on that PIP, whether it's 2 weeks or 4 weeks, if he doesn't turn it around, then we will gracefully say, "Hey, brother, not working out, results aren't there. You got 2 weeks. Go find another job." That's what it is now. But if it's a core value violation, that you just know this: if you work with us and we're firing you on the spot, we've already gathered enough evidence.
Right.
We don't even have to tell you the evidence that we've gathered.
Yeah.
We're just going to part ways with you. And if it gets nasty, then we might have to really bring out the arsenal, which is the evidence. Agreed?
absolutely.
So that's it. We just had a whole conversation about what running a real business operation really looks like. It's not sexy at all. It's not sexy, but man, oh man, is the challenging so fulfilling, right? Every single day, right? We're constantly being challenged to grow and evolve as leaders, as managers, as business people. So what are some things that operators are bad at? I can tell you right now. We're good at business marketing. We're not good at education marketing, online promotions. We're just not good at it.
What do you mean?
We
What do you
don't
mean by
know
that?
about the funnels. We don't know about the offers.
The bundling.
We don't know about the repackaging and the rebranding and the bundling and the right. We don't know. We don't really. We speak that language now because we've been around
have to,
enough online marketers, right? But that's something that was never a priority to us, and it's cost us a lot of money because we weren't diverse enough, right? It has cost. I feel like we're in a much better place now, and we're way more diverse and flexible. But that's something that we have lacked for probably 10 years.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's something that operators are not very good at, right? As far as and don't get me wrong, like you said, Sal, as we are developing as business operators, in the beginning, you're not going to be really good at your finances, including taxes, right?
That's the big thing.
You're not going to be really good at, any type of human resources, from hiring to violations, and you're just not, right? You're not going to be really good at, developing different departments like a sales team or, a marketing team, right? You're very talented, but you're not very structured in the beginning because you don't know what you don't know. And that's actually what costs you the most, right? It's what you don't know, right? Now let's talk about full-time online marketers, full-time, coaches and gurus / educators and promoters, right? What are they really good at?
Talking.
Marketing. This is just putting themselves out there and bringing traffic to the business. They're great at that.
Wow, that's right.
They're great at bringing traffic to that business, and it's on the operator or it's on whoever is backing them up to deliver on that or the fulfillment.
That's right.
But unfortunately, that's something that I don't think they care about that stuff. Because
They care about the front end.
Yeah, they're so consumed by that front end,
Yeah.
where it leads to, catastrophes. Unless that they watch for the signals and they go back and try to
Their
repair
work,
that.
I think their work stops when they get the money and close the deal.
Oof.
Where a business owner as soon as the deal is closed, that's when the work starts.
Correct.
The fulfillment starts at that point.
Transformation happens at the transaction.
But you can't discount, like, they're great communicators. They're great
Networkers?
They're great networkers. Plus,
Persuaders.
most of them are good salespeople.
What about
they know-
NLP?
Yeah, the
NLP.
NLP. The NLP is
man.
great.
Persuasion.
But I think also too,
messaging.
Yeah.
I think
Framing.
also
Yeah.
too, that stuff. Once
They're
the
talented.
camera's off, once you leave the building, then that influencer, that marketer they're to themselves, and there's no, like, with your employees, with your staff, there's no real relationship with
They're
those
actually very
individuals either.
selfish people from what I've been around. We've been partnered with some. We've collaborated with some. At the end of the day, they're very selfish.
But it looks like they're
They're
so
very
giving.
selfish.
They make themselves look
Yeah.
like
Ready?
they're the most giving
I have
people on the
a
planet.
terminology that I use for full-time online marketers.
Shiny turds.
Polished.
Polished turds.
Polished turds is what full-time online marketers are. Why? Because online, what do they look like? Very well put together, right? Always have a haircut. Beard is, right? Immaculate.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Clothes, cars, watches, shiny, shiny, shiny. They're great men of faith. They're great fathers. They're great husbands
You just
online.
described Sal, bro.
Right? No, hold on. Yo, they're great husbands online. They seem to
Husbands online.
they seem to have a crazy amount of business expertise and acumen.
They have couples masterminds when they're going through divorces or.
Well, hold on. We're going to get there,
all this
right?
stuff,
We're going to get
yeah.
there. We haven't talked
I feel
about
like
the
this
bad.
this podcast is gonna piss off some people.
That's the point,
That's
right?
the point, right? So, but then you get behind the curtain. And Sal and I, because we have our spiritual lenses on, so the discernment is there, and then we have our operating brains on. So then we're like, wow, this is a mess.
Right.
This is a mess. He's a mess, or she, and then his staff is a mess because his staff is a reflection of who?
Yeah.
That person. They're always playing catch up. And this is what they do, right? Again, what are they good at? We mentioned promoting, marketing, persuading, right? Messaging, framing, glitz, glamour, great. They're great at all that. But then, right, once you get behind the curtain or under the hood, as some may say, you're like, wow, dude, this dude doesn't even spend time with his family.
But you don't get to see that with those people.
What do you mean?
You have to really be in close with those types of people to
Yeah,
be
but
able
that's
to
why
see
they
that.
keep people
At a
far
distance.
away. Yeah,
That's right.
At a distance.
That's right.
It's really hard to get a hold of them, let alone hang out with them.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Once you get under the hood, you're like, dude, this dude does not prioritize his family. He does not prioritize his spirituality. He does not prioritize his staff. He does not prioritize his paying customers, right? And I think that the one thing that they're really bad at is fulfillment. Again, I can think of specific individuals, right? And then they're all good at the same thing and they're all bad at the same thing. It's so easy to spot
so
now,
true.
right?
So true.
Think about
Well,
it.
for us it is, but I feel like for 99.999% of people, they can't see it. There's no way.
Yeah, we can tell it's
yeah,
we
it's
can tell
easy
it's a
for us
Chrysler
to-
300 with the Rolls Royce body kit on it.
Oh my God. No, it's actually kind of sad, right? It's kind of sad because, you there's a sense of disappointment because we at some point, Sal and I and you guys, we give people the benefit of the doubt. We think that people are who they say they are, right?
Yeah.
And then what begins to happen over and over and over is their biggest obstacle is fulfillment. And now, Sal, I didn't understand this the first time you said this, but I truly understand it now because I've seen it firsthand. Once you open that up in my brain, I started looking for it. This is what online marketers and coaches and gurus are, full-time educators, right? They have to go get new crowd every single month.
Yes.
They have to be on a big podcast every single month, right? They have to go get on a new stage every single month.
It's like a Ponzi.
Because what's happening with the old paying crowd?
They're gone.
They're gone. Yeah.
What do you mean they're gone?
They're getting screwed.
They're not getting fulfilled.
Yeah, they leave.
They're like, dude, you promised me 10 things. I only got 2. And the 2 things that I got were absolutely trash. You're not fulfilling on what you told me you were going to fulfill on. And I give you 50,000 and I give you 100,000, right? And then there's like the back and forth, and nothing ever goes anywhere, but it doesn't even matter because they're already on to the next crowd. That's what I've seen.
It's
time
because
and time again.
Because online gives you access to everybody. Like if we were all just in a village and there's 100 people in the village and you burn 10 people, the other, everyone else is going to know about them, who got burned. But if you're on the internet and you burn, let's say 1,000 people, there's still 2 billion people out there that don't even know these 1,000 stories.
Do not underestimate the comment section.
Or baller busters.
No. Right? Real quick. 2 things. Two quick ways to spot a full-time marketer, promoter, online guru, or educator. Number 1, go to Baller Busters. Number 2, go to the comment section. You are going to see so many pissed off people in the comment section. And you're like, oh my God, dude, like, what is going on here, right? Like, once you start to study the comment section, you are blown away by the things that you read.
You should start treating the comment section like your like Google, like reviews on Google.
Ooh, wow.
Hold on. Did you hear what he said? He said, start treating the comment section when it comes to these full-time online coaches and gurus and educators and influencers like they were Google reviews. Ooh. It is what it is. So now this is how we're going to start to wrap this up, right? How can people, because who loses here?
Customer.
The paying customer. Yeah. The paying customer loses. And they lose a lot more than they can afford to lose, right? They lose their life savings. They lose their dreams, their hope. That's the biggest thing that these people take away. They take away their hope. Yes or no?
Absolutely.
Imagine I saved and I saved and I saved and I managed to stack up, $30,000 or $50,000 to really seek a better life, to seek more information because I thought that you were the guy or you were the girl, and then you don't fulfill, and I'm stuck. I'm actually in a worse situation now. Now I'm in debt, right? And now I don't have what I thought I was gonna have, and I don't even have a shot at moving forward in any way, right? Most of the time, those people are crushed, and do they ever recover?
Probably not.
Most of the time, they never recover.
I think that's the commonality that we all share here on this podcast, right? Is that for us, every paying customer that we get, we are willing to go into debt to help them be successful.
We've done that.
We've gone into debt to help them be successful. We've taken the last bit of money out of our pocket to make sure that they still have all the tools and resources that they were promised to become successful.
Without them knowing. To me,
Without
that's the
them
most
knowing,
impressive
yeah.
thing. It's not like, hey, man, I'm going to do this, and you're going to put me in this situation, but I'm going to make right by you. It's like they don't even know.
Yeah.
They don't
Zadie-
even know you're taking that
Zadie,
help.
personally, you've known me and Sal since 2016. Unfortunately, you've known me for a lot longer,
Yeah.
right? Have you ever seen me and Sal not go above and beyond for a paying customer?
Never.
Ever.
Never.
And you know what? For that, Sal and I, we might not be the most successful people in the world, but I'll tell you what, to this day, I've been in business with you for 10 years, right? What's the motto that we have here in this organization? One lie is
Too many.
too many. One lie is too many. We truly do honor ourselves and our organization, as far as like keeping our word. So
I want to say something before we end this.
Yeah, for sure.
If there was some influencers that are watching this, and if there are some online marketers,
fix your shit.
well, yeah, here you
Well,
said
they
it.
are
but,
shit. They
you know,
can't fix themselves.
Fix your shit or get shitted on.
Try to understand what operations look like in your business, and if they're not where they should be, seek advice or try to love that process. And if you don't, hire somebody that you think it can take over.
Or 1-800 call
Don't
Sal.
Yeah, don't throw money at it, because throwing money at it is only it's like robbing Peter to pay Paul, and then that never ends. That never.
Here's
ends
another
well.
thing, right?
Yeah.
Here's another thing for those people. If you want to know if you're that person or you're not that person,
Go to your
po-
comment
stop-
section.
No, stop posting videos. Stop posting videos about your company, about what you do for 30 to 60 days, and see how much more revenue you bring in.
Oof.
Yeah.
And guess what? For everybody out there watching, a satisfied paying customer will not only pay you one time.
That's right.
They trust you now, and they know that every time that they paid you, it's kind of like Nike,
And they'll bring you people.
right? They'll refer people. You know, there's referrals coming in. They're like, man, I've gotten served by these people. Yeah, you know, hey, you got to go talk to these dudes, or you got to go talk to this company, right? It's almost like, man, you want to try to make your brand or your organization something dependable, you know, that like a Nike, right? If you buy a Nike a pair of shoes from Nike, you know that they're going to be good shoes
They actually have a return policy.
for like 100 days or 90 to 30 days. I don't know.
even
And
be
like no
longer
questions
than
asked.
that. Yeah.
Like Amex. Hey, I got scammed. They're like, no problem. We're returning your money. We're shutting down your
Instantly.
card and we're sending you a new one.
Yeah.
That is service, my friend. That is fulfillment.
Yeah.
Right? And the companies that do the absolute best, the multi-million and multi-billion-dollar companies are the companies that serve. They all they care about is customer experience. Take a look at Amazon. Right? What does Amazon pride themselves on? If you're some kind of vendor on Amazon and you don't fulfill, or you're gone. You're out. You're not using the platform.
That's how Apple was when Steve Jobs was around. You guys remember when Apple first emerged? If you lost your charger, you could walk into an Apple store and be like, "Hey, I lost my charger." I'm like, "Hey, no problem. I'll give you a new one." Now
They don't
you
even
know,
sell
you
a
gotta
charger with it.
Now they don't sell. Now they sell them separately. Now, yeah.
Well, the economy isn't where it once was.
Well,
Yeah.
Steve Jobs
Charger
died,
sold
you know.
separately.
Shout out to the people in
And they
office, by
change
the
it
way.
up on you. They
But
change
I'll,
up
I'll
the-
say this to identify it, like genuinely, if you don't want to be a shiny turd and you're like, oh, what can I do?
Polished turd, dude.
Polished turd. But like,
Jeez.
if you're
What do you have against the polish?
If you're growing
What do you have against the
spiritually,
polish?
nothing, bro. If
The
you're
polish.
growing spiritually, okay, if you're growing and your people aren't growing, then you're failing. You need to level up your people while you're leveling up. You guys do that. You guys have sacred CEO, right? Sessions for employees.
Every Thursday at 12 o'clock.
And that's great because
a
that's
personal
mindset.
development,
That's personal
yeah.
development, right?
Yeah.
You guys spent what, tens of thousands of dollars on personal development, and now you're giving it to employees. Where other people, maybe they'll go, I'm going to go to Hawaii and take a vacation and mentally, escape and relax. And then the employee doesn't do that. The employee doesn't get anything.
At
And then
one point, we were covering
Destruction.
100% of our employees' medical. At one point,
Yeah.
and then we were like, "Oh my God, this is a little much. Let's just bring it down to a pretty good percentage still, right?" But anyway, here are some things also to look out for, right? Don't hire a marriage coach that's on his third divorce, right? Don't hire a businessman that is constantly taking advantage of people. You know,
Especially
what I mean?
his wife. Yeah.
Here, I'm gonna tell you this. And the other thing you got to really look out for is a lot of these people. Have you noticed? It's like picture perfect online image, right? They're putting videos out there like, oh, I love my family every day. You guys know me, and you know how much I'm madly in love with my wife, and I absolutely love my little girls. When do you ever really see me always saying like, oh, I love my... No, I don't have to, dude. Right? You're happily married. You're happily married. You're happily married. You married way beyond your expectations. No disrespect.
That I groomed her. What do you mean?
Oh my God.
Okay, then you can probably throw that comment towards my direction.
You also groomed yours?
No, I
You're a
married
groomer?
out of my.
You married, yeah. You're right. And that's why you have to do everything your wife tells you to do.
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
Anyway, he caught a stray, huh? He caught a stray. Anyway,
I told her that the other day. I was like, honestly, the reason I asked you to marry me is because I felt like there probably wasn't gonna be anything.
was that your
better.
biggest like
close?
transaction, biggest acquisition?
Absolutely. No, I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, I got to work here.
Okay.
Okay.
That $1 million month was pretty good though. You know?
No, that was a good acquisition.
That was fun.
Yeah.
We need to get you to start doing some big acquisitions again. Anyway, that's what you should, right? But anyway, that's it, man. I just want to give people some kind of sound insight of what to look for so that they don't end up in a bad situation.
If your guru is sleeping with his wife's hairdresser, you got the wrong
always
guru.
Say that.
It's true.
You always say that. I feel like you're talking about a specific someone.
I am.
Oh, okay.
I'm out of this world, so
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I'm
Me too.
disconnected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'll just smile here.
Yep. Listen, we're gonna close it out. If you enjoyed today's episode, please do me a huge favor. Share the show with somebody who needs to hear this. Subscribe if you haven't, because I think there's like 40 or 60% of you that watch our show have not subscribed. And comment and like, and just be here on a weekly basis with us, because we absolutely love bringing value to you every single week. Until next time, see you soon.